Welcome back to the Diary of a Single Mum. My name is Marian Sheikh Hussein. To all you newcomers, welcome, welcome, welcome. Where you been, girl? Where you been? Where you been? Come and get your tea. Come and get your Somali Sheikh and sit down and let's have a chat. Nimad Nashay, Kumad Alin. Today, in this topic, we are going to be talking about the pressures of young Somali girls in the community. I'm sure many other cultures also put a lot of pressure on their girls, and the parentification of children. Parentification means giving your child the parental role. So putting your child in a position where they now become the parent. For example, they have a lot of pressures in the house. On top of that, they need to go to school. They need to do extra chores. Some of them have to care for their parent emotionally. Sometimes the parent will come and tell their child some inappropriate things and ask the child to console them. Those things are all parentification. And I can't lie to you, I wouldn't say I'm guilty of it. However, my children have seen me depressed. So this topic is extremely important to me because I feel like when it comes to parentifying a child, the child ends up to grow up to become a resentful adult. So resenting their parents and resenting all the responsibilities that have been put on them. I'm just going to give you a little story time because I remember there was something that happened that I saw and I just thought to myself, okay, this might have been the reason for this person's mental breakdown. There was this lady who was my qabil, right? So she was in the same tribe as me, and my dad introduced us both. So my dad's in America, I was in Sweden at that time, and he introduced us both. This lady had 12 children, loads and loads of children. And this is not me knocking someone having loads of children, because if you can take care of all your children, then great. But she had 12 children, and I think half of them were from her first marriage, and this like three of them were from her second marriage. And she was married to a guy who was significantly younger than her. I've been in his probably like late 20s, 27, 28, and she was like 42. She was this, mashallah, beautiful auntie, and she was very kind as well. Obviously, everything was very chaotic because there was loads of children around the house, obviously, as you can imagine. And not only that, her second oldest daughter, who was about, I think, 16, this cute little precious girl, yeah, she had to like take care of her siblings. So there's like 10 of them that she has to take care of, or 9 of them that she has to take care of. And the stepdad wasn't really helpful at all. I remember one time, the stepdad, that auntie's husband, called me. I don't know how he got my number. He called me and he told me to hook him up with my older sister. And I was like, Apti, like, what the hell? Like, even though he was like 28, I was like, Apti, because obviously he's married to my auntie, who's the same qabil as me, and she's 42, right? So I was like, are you being serious? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what about Javier? Like, she's your wife. Like, why are you calling me for? And then he just started laughing and he was making it out as a joke. And he was like, oh, I can have 2 wives, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what the hell, man? This is the type of person that she's basically married to, subhanAllah, like literally messing around. So going back to the girl, she had to take care of all of her siblings. And I remember I went to visit them a few times because the auntie was so lovely. And sometimes she would invite like other women from my tribe. So they knew my granddad, and they would just speak about our tribe and how amazing it is. You know how the older generation of Somalis are, like everybody likes to big up their tribe. So the girl, I would see her like taking care of her siblings, and she had to go to school as well during the day and study. And I can also imagine how difficult it must have been because like did she have any space to study? I don't know. But the house was pretty chaotic. So one time I got a phone call from my dad, and he told me that the girl got really sick, like mentally sick, right? And like apparently she's gone a bit crazy. And it made me feel so sad because I was thinking, I'm sure that the burden that she had to bear had something to do with it. But everybody else in the community translated it as she must have gin problems or she just went crazy. When you have too much pressure put on you, your mind, basically, you can go into a breakdown. And I feel like this is why it is extremely important that we give our children responsibilities, because research shows that if you don't give your children responsibilities and you don't let your children sort things out on their own, it doesn't build a healthy sense of self-esteem. So I'm going to actually put a clip on here.
Don't do too much for them. This is very important. If you do too much for them, you will steal their self-esteem. So when they give you a problem, Daddy, I'm bored. Don't go fix it for them. Give it back to them. always give it back to them. It's like, huh, I wonder how you're going to solve that. And then shut up. Do something with your child wants to do. And during that time, no commands, no questions, no directions. So powerful. If your parents are reasonable, that's the one thing children want from you. It's time and listening. You want to teach kids to be competent.
Oh, if your child is bored, bring it back to them and say to them. So if they come to you and they say they're bored, just say to them, okay, so what do you want to do about that? So sometimes your child needs to also be able to learn how to deal with their boredom or learn how to deal with some challenges. And this doesn't mean that you shouldn't be there for your child. Of course, 100% you're supposed to be there and present for your child. Being present for your child doesn't mean enabling them. I've seen countless of times young Somali boys being enabled by their mums and the girls having loads of responsibilities to do. And then the boys, when they grow up, they end up hating their parents because they're like, oh, my mom, she never taught me how to make money. My mom, she never taught me how to do this. I didn't do well in school. And then guriye fatiyan, and they're playing video games all day. Because growing up, their sister had to come upstairs and bring them food to their room. They couldn't even do things for themselves, you know. They weren't taught to be a man. They weren't taught to go out there and tackle the challenges of life. Because especially today, the capitalistic society that we're living in, we have to be strong enough to be able to go out there and compete with other people. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the reality of it. Even if you don't want to compete with people, people are competing with you. So you need to make sure that I feel like it's important that our children develop an armor and a strength within them where when they go outside into the world, they actually understand that they're going to be dealing with certain challenges. And life is not how it's seen in Disney movies. It's not like fairy tale. Life is not a fairy tale. There are actually many challenges that you have to deal with in life. A lot of people from the older generation, obviously, we can see the results of enabling your sons because a lot of people actually end up on the streets, end up selling drugs, end up this, da 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 da. And I'm not saying it's always the case that mothers are enabling their sons, but sometimes that can be the case because when you're enabling your child doesn't feel a sense of confidence, you know, because they've been given everything. So when they grow up and they go out into the real world, they have this sense of entitlement and they expect to have the same treatment from other people, but people don't give a F about you in the world. Like people, you can be crying out on the street or you can be like on the floor in the street and people won't help you. One time there was this girl who looked like she was 25. At this time I was like 22, so I was with my cousin and she was literally on the floor and you could see her knickers, right? So she was drunk and she was on the floor, she was sitting down and her bag was on the floor and her keys came out and there was a £5 note that was out and you could see her knickers and she was just like, nah. Nobody, like people were just walking past her. This was in central London. And I remember me and my cousins actually went up to her and we was like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Like we put her money back in her bag. We put the keys back in her bag. We helped her up. And like she was in my face. Like I remember her breath smelled of alcohol, but she was coming to my face and she was like, I love you. Like, I love you so much. Like she was this white girl and she was like, I love you. Like, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was like, it's all right. It's all right. So we called her friend and her friend ended up coming to collect her. But and we were sitting with her on the bus and she kept on like leaning on me, you know, like falling on me and like her breath was in my face. Like I was like, but people will literally walk past you, fam. Like this is how society is. Like people walk past you. In order for us to be able to live in this whole world, we have to teach our children, like if they're going to become the next generation of children that are going to be like have that inner fortress, have that sense of self-confidence, we have to allow our kids to be able to do things on their own. Like I tell my kids to do chores, but I don't overburden my children. There's a difference. I don't overburden with my children because my mindset is when my children are doing chores, they're not doing it for me because I own them. They are doing chores so that it could help them when they grow up. I want my child, so if she goes to university and she chooses to live on campus, I want her to be able to know how to clean her bedroom, how to take care of herself, right? Because at some point, unfortunately, I am gonna have to let go of my kids and be like, not let go of them, but like let them have freedom. And I can't hold them in forever because again, that's another indicating factor that sometimes it comes from our own selfishness that we want to keep our kids when they're of age, like 20 or something, and not allow them to do certain things, even though it's quite dangerous out there. So we have to just be quite mindful about how we can raise healthy children as much as we can with the little things that we have. If you don't have much and you're a single mom, I'm with you. Trust me. Like, I know how hard it is. It is hard, you know? It is hard. But nimad the shay, kumadalin. The child that you gave birth to, they did not give birth to you. So don't be expecting them to take on a parental role because that's not their job. I feel like in our culture, it's taught us to, like, I'm not like, when I say culture, I mean the stuff that has been done before and is continuing to be done today. I feel like a lot of people are breaking the generational cycles. But from before, I've seen this repeating cycle of parents thinking that they own their children so they can do whatever they want to them. They can cuss them out, they can put them down, they can project their insecurities onto them. It's really crazy. But it's like we don't own these children. They've been given to us by God. They've been given to us by Allah. So what we need to do is like we need to kind of understand that they are becoming their own person and change our mindset around when our children are doing things for themselves. It's because it's to help them build a sense of self-esteem. It's to help them become more self-sufficient and to not overburden them. Because I feel like parents who overburden their children have this sense of entitlement where they think to themselves, oh, this is my child, so she has to take care of me. I've heard many like Somali women say like, ilmahan markay weynaadaan way ii adeegayaan. Inshallah way ku adeegayaan. But don't let that be your main priority and your main idea for why you're having children. Sidee ku adeegaan markay weynaadaan. Especially when it comes to girls, that's the pressure that we put on them. It's like when my child grows up, they're going to be serving me. When my child grows up, we really hope that our children come to us and want to be next to us. But if our intention is for them to serve us, that means that we're already treating them like they're a slave. And to be honest with you, this is going to lead to them running away from you when they grow up. They're not going to want to be around you because they feel resentful towards you now. They feel uqdad because they've been given too much things to do, right? They've been given too many responsibilities. They were told, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this. As soon as they come home and they put their bag down, your brothers go and take food to them. That takes a toll on a young girl. That takes a toll on her. And when she grows up, she's going to be angry. Or she might do the same thing for her daughters. She might think that that's okay and then make her daughters do that. Or she might be angry, but she won't, like, she doesn't know how to stop it. So she does it to other girls. Like, there was this girl one time, right? And she said to me, oh, like, my older sister used to beat me so bad. So she was significantly younger than her sister. Her sister was way older than her. So her sisters might have been like in her late 20s that time, and the girl was 14. Her older sister used to beat up her little sister like really badly. Like, I'm talking about she used to bruck her up, right? And this girl told me like a few years later when she was like 21, 22. This was a few years back. And she came to me and she was like, oh, my sister, I hate her. She used to beat me up. Like, she still has a uqdad against her sister. And I remember when she went to her mum to tell her, hoy, this is what my sister used to do, I don't want to talk to her. Because she would be like, oh, hoy, talk to your sister. And she would be like, I don't want to talk to her. Why? Because hoy, she used to, like, I don't want to talk to her. I don't like her. Because she used to do X, Y, and Z to me. She used to abuse me. And the mum was like, Ani wali so dili. Are they gonna, what's the difference? You know, we've all been through it basically. So even though she understands that it's wrong, the mum, she still doesn't mind it happening to her daughter because it happened to her. So why not her daughter? What makes her daughter any different? That's what she said to her. So I just feel like it's definitely something that needs to be put to a stop now. And it's not just our culture, because there are many different cultures where children, young girls, are basically brought up with the idea of they're only here to serve, they're only here to have children, they're only here to do this. No, 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 honey. Like, wallahi, if you haven't had children yet, I would say focus on yourself, travel the world, do things for yourself, and enjoy your life to the fullest. Because trust me, being a parent is a commitment within itself. And it's not an easy job being a hoya. Many times I let myself go, especially like Hadaya, now that I'm studying and I'm doing my degree and I've got the kids and I just literally started this channel. Like, I can't lie to you, I'm tired. And there are some days where I'm like, bro, like, I don't want to I don't want to take care of myself, you know? Like, and not, I don't mean take care of myself like the basic stuff. I'm talking about taking care of myself the way that I did before I started going back to uni, because I had my own routine. Like, I was braiding my hair all the time, I was putting on facials all the time, I was literally, my skin was glowing even more. And now I'm tired. And that's absolutely fine, because I know being a Hoya, it's the hardest job I'm ever going to do in my life. And I'm sacrificing my children's life so that I don't have to put too much pressure on them and make them grow up and think that that's okay, or feel resentful towards me. Because it's time for us to break this cycle of parentifying our children, of bringing our children up to feel like that's the only thing that they're for. They're for giving birth, they're for having children, they're for serving men. No, 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 no. Our children are here so that they can live their life to the fullest, first of all. Of course, so that they can have a great relationship with God and be very close to God, and so that they can educate themselves and meet their needs, right? When they grow up, they meet their own needs and they understand life and they live life to the fullest. And that means that I need to ensure that I'm meeting my children's needs, and I'm checking in with them, and I'm making sure that I'm not putting on the same burdens as, let's say, that's been given to me, for example, because I did have a lot of burdens growing up, and I know exactly how it feels like to have a lot of pressure. And I'm not putting no blame on my mom, because she was a single mom and there was 8 of us, right? So I was the second oldest girl, and I had to do a lot of work in the house. And this made me feel very frustrated sometimes, because I never really had time to do my work. I never really had time to focus on my studies. And sometimes I also felt like I felt this sense of worthlessness in me. Like, is this all I'm supposed to do? And I wasn't being appreciated. I felt like I wasn't being appreciated, right? So I know that there are a lot of girls who are Somali who have been through this as well, or who are currently going through this. If you're currently going through this and you're living under the roof of your parents, the only thing I can say is have a chat with your parents. If that doesn't work, just work on healing yourself and hold on. Hold on. Do you know what I mean? Like, stay in the present moment and hold on, because every experience that you go through in life is a lesson for you. Every experience, if you take it as that, yeah, every lesson in your life is supposed to lead you to where you're supposed to be headed. Yeah. So don't give up. Don't give up. Anyways, guys, I'm going to end this video here. I really hope you like this content. Has this ever happened to you before? If it has, or if you're a guy, have you ever seen any of your sisters going through this? Or have you had any pressures placed on you? Or have you been enabled? I would like to see some comments down below, because I can see from a previous video, alhamdulillah, I've gotten so much engagements from you guys, and it was amazing to hear your viewpoints and what you've been through and all of this. So if you've ever been through this, trust me, girl, I know how you feel. And it's just important that we change that from now on. So anyways, guys, love you. Take care. Please don't forget to click, like, comment, and subscribe. Anyways, guys, bye.